there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Word to your mother.
Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Two Cool Moms. I am Joe Gatto.
I'm not. I'm Steve.
Hi, Stevie.
Good to see you, buddy.
Question for you. Did you get gattoed?
Did I get gattoed?
You texted me today when we got here. When you got here, you said, hey, what floor are we on? And I wrote back 7.
What you got back to me afterwards. We're on the 6th floor. Yes.
Did
and
you
now
go
that
to
you
7?
say it, I'm like, I think he thinks it's the 7th, but he's been here before. So I should know better.
Yeah.
I should know better, basically, is what, after being friends with you for so long, I should know that I should never ask you a question for directions because you'll send me the wrong place.
100%.
And then,
with confidence to tell you where the bathroom is in a restaurant. Never been to it.
Right, yeah.
Never asked me someone's name.
Right.
What's her name? Maria. Definitely her name's Maria.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, that's Maria. It's Bill's wife, Maria. I don't know Bill, don't know Maria.
Yeah. But you're going to you're getting ready to go to Los Angeles for a film premiere.
I hope so.
You're going. What are you talking about? You hope so?
Yeah, I hope to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah, Christmas with the Campbells.
That's right, Christmas with the Campbells. Very excited to see it.
A film that our good friend Vince Vaughn produced and our good friend Peter Billingsley produced and
my good friend Claire directed, which I did not know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And Claire has done Hallmark films in the past.
Yeah,
That's correct.
That's right.
Okay, so
our good friends Justin Long and Brittany Snow are in it.
Yes.
So I know a lot of people in it, and I didn't get asked to do anything with it.
Same.
Here we are, just two cool mom in it, talking about other people's successes.
Some best friends produced another film that they didn't ask me to be a part of.
Yeah, some of my childhood heroes.
Yeah, well, here we go. We're here on the 6th floor. The 6th floor.
So did I get you?
The 6th
Did
floor.
I get you? What's 6?
No,
how do you operate? Because you asked me a lot of questions that you should know. Like you asked me the address of this place a lot.
Every week. Every time I fly in. What's the address again? And so I wasn't going to do it today. I wasn't going to do it. So I scrolled through messages because they delete after 30 days. I'm like, well, it's been about a month, and I think it's still got to be on Jiggy's. So I looked on Jiggy's, and now I put it I was like, I can use technology. So I put the address into his contact info.
Also, now you know.
There.
Now you'll always be able to find this place.
Now it's there, yeah.
But he's changing offices next week.
Great. We're going to the 7th floor?
7th floor. We're going to the 7th floor.
Yeah. But you're so I mean, yeah, there's things I remember. You could give me, remember Bruce Willis and, what was that movie, the Monkeys or whatever?
13 Monkeys.
13 Monkeys. He was like, I never forget a number or whatever. Yeah. And I was always like that.
Were you?
Back in the day when you would take somebody's number, you could tell it to me once, and I would remember somebody's phone number with the area code. I just would always be able to retain that.
Do you remember your childhood home's phone number?
Yeah, 412-487.
Should we call it and see who lives there now?
Okay. You want to?
Yeah. Why not?
4,
Block your number, though.
2. Oh, star 69?
Star 67. Ask for your mom. Ask for your mom.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh,
you can buy it back. It could become your cell phone number.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I did a show in Pittsburgh about a year ago, and a woman came up to me, and she says, "Hi, Steve Byrne." I go, "Yeah."
This is your child.
Oh, no. She goes, "I want to show you something." I go, "Okay." So she pulls out her license, and she goes, "Look at the address." And it was Hidden Pond Drive. It's where I lived growing up in Pittsburgh.
Oh my goodness.
So it was pretty wild. She's like, "You should stop by sometime, Mike." And she was there with her kids or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, that's so awesome."
Oh, that'd be so cool.
I've never showed up, but I did drive past it because I'd rented a car and I drove past. And just like when I was growing up, they had a street hockey net right at the top, and I was like,
yeah, it's still
so awesome.
That's really cool. I can't believe you get out and play on your old street. Knock some people down.
Did you have you ever gone back to your childhood?
My house got knocked down, and they put houses on the lot. So they built 7 houses where my house was, like these little townhouse condo things,
right,
on the corner lot of mine. So we were the last people that were there. But I still think there's dogs buried in the back. So we had a dog. We buried one of our dogs in the back, and there was they left the yard, which was very odd. And you still see the cross that we made. I swear to God, that was up there. Not now. This is like after I went to see it. So we're talking 19, my father died 5, so 1996 this is.
Okay.
So the contractor knocked down the houses, and a contractor knocked down the house, and then I went there like 98 or whatever,
Right.
when they were just like finishing up, and they still had the bushes up with the cross like in the back, and I was like, did they not?
Wow,
change?
really?
Yeah. So, but it's probably gone now. Yeah, nobody lived in that house.
Did you pay your respects?
I did.
You did.
I knelt down. Yeah, I did. So my
That's you.
my grandfather bought the house on a whim. He drove by it.
Mm-hmm.
He had tomato money. My grandfather. He had the Tomatoes Brothers Incorporated money.
Please explain this. Wait, didn't he invented
the
tomato
sorting machine? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he had that tomato money.
Yeah.
So, but it was all cash. He was Sicilian. So it was. He was running the show there, and he walked into. My grandmother grew up in Camden, New Jersey, in a big yard, and this house reminded her of that.
Right.
And she didn't even see the inside. She said, "I want that house." So my grandfather knocked on the front door and bought it.
come
I
on.
swear to God, and bought it for like $10,000 cash.
Like
my
Bugsy,
wife,
that movie
he
with
said
Warren Beatty, where he drives past. Wow, that's
He goes, "My
crazy.
wife wants to live here," so they hadn't even seen the inside of the house. They went inside, it was a complete shithole. So he had to renovate like the whole thing, whatever. And my grandmother actually started crying. She's like, "What have I done? I'm so sorry." And he's like, "Don't worry, we'll fix it up." So he did that.
Wait, so he literally just knocked on the door, said, "I want to buy it." The people working there
Guy
were like,
said- Yeah.
live there. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they said $10,000 cash or whatever he said, or whatever it was, 50,000 with cash, whatever it was, and he gave it to him.
But he
And they
didn't
lived-
think to go inside and kick the
No,
tires
he
at
didn't.
all.
That's
or-
where they wanted to live. Yeah,
That's it.
so-
Okay.
But my grandfather was like a fixer-upper guy. Him and my uncles, they could like do
just
work.
just like you.
Just
He
like
runs in
me,
the
same.
family,
Yeah. My favorite tool is the Yellow Pages. So, so when they bought it from this family that had built the house. So
Right.
then my grandparents lived there with my mom. My mom was, I think, 9 or 10 when she moved in it. And then my parents bought it from them. And then
No
we grew up
way.
in it. And then it got knocked down. So for like 2/3 of this thing's life was
Wow,
our
that's
family.
crazy.
Which is
Oh, that's
crazy.
a shame.
Yeah. So we knocked it. Well, I like kind of, it is a shame, but it's also kind of like nobody else got to live there, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I burnt it down. I mean, they knocked it down. Yeah, so that was pretty cool to have like that experience. But my house was the first to go on the block when they started renovating all of that Staten Island. And my
Right.
neighbor's house, Jason Joseph, he had this big house, and they were like the last to sell. So there's all these new houses up, and then Jason's like dilapidated house, like in the middle of it.
Oh, still there. Wow.
Holding it-
And,
holding
and
its
what
ground.
is are the homes bigger and nicer, or is
No,
it
they're just
still-
like the townhouse setup, like that Staten
Oh,
Island has
got
turned
it, got
into.
it,
It's like
Yeah.
everybody's got shared walls, that kind of
Right.
thing.
But it's nice to go back to Section 8 when you.
I do. I appreciate it. Yeah, I live in the hood, man. Mariners
Yeah.
Harbor, Harbor boys. Don't mess with them, babe. Jason Gordon brought a Glock to my backyard. I let him win that basketball game.
I do want to say the new Hour's out now on Amazon Prime.
Who's Hour?
Only one of us has an hour. That's
Very
on.
good.
That's
You're
on.
on fifth hour.
You make a lot more money doing your hour currently, but you were very helpful in directing this and overseeing it. And I just want to say
This
thank
is
you
the
again.
best comedy special
ever.
that ever has come out.
Ever.
And people need to see it.
Yes.
It is called The Last Late Night with Steve Byrne.
Yes.
It's available on Amazon Prime.
It is.
And if you are a fan of this podcast, any podcast, if you're a fan of words, actually, if you speak
And
you
air.
should- and air, if
Yeah.
you breathe, you should watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's for you.
If you're a mouth breather, you'll love it. Yeah.
I was very proud of multiple things with this project for you. First of all, you are a very
Thank you.
And I also wanted to mention, you are very meticulous in your presentation of what you know is going to be a project that's going to reflect you.
Right.
And I was very taken back on how serious you were about it, and also how important it was to you, and how much you cared about it. It didn't feel like you were just churning out, "Oh, it's time to do another hour."
Sure.
It felt like, "Oh, this is going to be something that I'm going to be proud of." And I think working with you through that process, it made me step up my game as the director to be like, I want to make sure that I'm helping him attain his vision of something that was good. And I was very proud to watch you take that stage. I've seen you perform a lot.
Sure.
I've seen you do your stuff. I've watched your other
Steve,
specials.
be nice to them.
Steve, be nice. Steve, be nice. Those are my words to Steve before he walks out. Never listens. But I've always seen your stuff, and I felt this thing has, it has heart. It's funny as hell. It has heart, and there's a great story, and you really open up in a way that you haven't in your other specials, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, thank you.
So I am excited
Well, that
for
same
people to
attention
see
to
it.
detail, I think, that I put to the special, I tried to bring to Two Cool Moms as well. The decor, the color palettes.
The design that you did. Oh no, I did that.
You did that.
Yeah, there's when you
got
shot.
the-
No,
yep,
no.
and Jiggy
you
did,
this,
and
this.
you did.
Yep.
So,
but you did get. Oh, you forgot to get the
there we go.
questions,
Got
and
the
I had to post
questions, yeah.
about it. Yeah. So you fly here, and you think that's enough. So that's good. No, but I'm proud of it. And I'm excited for people to see it, and I want to make sure that people, give it the love, and please do, because you deserve it. It's great, and I want to hear what people have to say.
Yeah, I do too. I'm, that's the thing with these things, and we were discussing it before we went on air. That just like you film these things, and so much work and investment goes into them, and then you forget. It's like, oh yeah, now I hope people like it.
Yeah.
Now I hope.
Are you nervous for people to see it? What's your vibe?
I'm excited for people to see it because I think the concept is so unique and different, and again, it's the late night talk show. So it's an hour special that takes place on the set of a late night talk show, and talk shows are really three styles of writing. It's one-liners, that's your monologue, panel, storytelling, traditional stand-up at the end. So I remember when I first came up with the concept, it got rejected. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
I think really nobody wanted me at the time, because we all go up and down and up and down, and at the time my stock was pretty low, and it just, everybody just said, no, why? And I think some people thought it was a gimmick. And I don't know, I just didn't give up on it, I was like, it's got to work.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to give me an opportunity. And I was getting to the point where I was going to self-finance it on my own. And I was gearing up to film it in Phoenix. And I was working out a door deal with the guys at Stand Up Live so that I could take the money from the door deal and infuse it into the product.
Right.
And that's what I was going to do. I was going to do it on the stage at Stand Up Live. And then I took a Hail Mary and invited my friend Ryan from Amazon to come out and see it. He saw it, and he came backstage. He said, I love it. This is bold. He said bold like 6 times. And I was like, well, I hope bold means you're going to fucking buy it. Yeah. So
Does bold mean shuttle, or what does that sound like? Great.
So he signed on board, and then when I knew it was going to actually happen, we had started working together, and I know how attentive you are to detail and how good you are with production. And I thought, well, I think it's so funny sometimes when comics are like, yeah, Chris Rock's directing my special, or so-and-so's directing my... It's like, okay, yeah, that's... Anybody could direct a special. My mom could direct a comedy special, honestly. You just put 6 cameras on stilts, on pegs, and you just say action. And then they're all recording it, and then it's like you go and edit it.
Yeah.
But this was different. There was a lot of production value in this. There was a lot of... it's not a stereotypical stand-up special.
Right.
There was a lot of moving parts to this, and so there was a lot of decisions.
Live band, right?
Live
Yeah,
band, a lot of decisions to be made creatively, and you came in and you had great ideas out of the gates. You were the first person I met, other than me, that got it the minute I said it. There's still some people, like, even when after taping afterwards, I heard it like 7 times. Yeah, you kept explaining it to me. I never understood until I saw
it, right?
And I was
right.
like, I don't understand how you can't see it. But even the production company, Brian Volkweis and Cisco, they both said it to me.
Yeah.
And they produced it.
Yeah,
And they go, I didn't know what it was going to be until we did it. I was like, it's crazy. But you were the one, you got it right away. And instantly you're generating ideas, generating like creative thoughts of transitions and what to do and all that stuff. And I just knew I was in good hands, because I think if you had the typical like stand-up director or even a director, I think that I don't think it would have come out as great as it did. So I thank you very much for that.
Oh, of course, buddy.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, good. I can't wait to do the next one.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see yours. I mean, that you've
called the First Morning Show.
now that you did that and you've had the experience with that, and honestly, within a year's time, it's basically been a year you've been on the road.
Yeah.
You have a bona fide, truly great, engaging, entertaining hour. You could, based off of everything I've seen, you're not doing these in clubs. You're doing them in theaters. I mean, that's another mark of like an achievement. It's harder to do that. It's harder to sustain attention for 60 minutes
Yeah.
in a theater environment than it is in a club. Club's a lot more intimate. So again, another testament. But is that something that's on the radar?
Well, it wasn't until when I did yours, I was like, oh, this could be fun. And then now having the hour and realizing the content is there and it's really strong and I'm really proud of it, it's different. Because like in the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Let me figure it out. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. This is funny. And then when I found 2 or 3 new chunks to put in that really were different and I felt like we're good. And then once I stepped up to the theaters, and so I think ultimately, I think I would do it because I want this to live on, right?
Yeah,
I want it to live on. I want it to go. I don't know where I would put it or whatever, but I would want this. I work so hard on this. You don't want just because if you don't do it anymore, it's gone, right? Like if you at least you get it on tape. It's like okay, here it is. I can give my kids the DVD to bury me with. Right?
fucking grim. You know what? That's bold.
That's true.
That is
Remo
bold.
asked me yesterday, when am I going to die?
No.
I said, no, you don't never know, pal. He goes, you never do, Dad.
God.
He's 5.
Jesus, as he's stirring your coffee.
He's like, you never know.
Clang, 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 clang. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm not going to bed early, bitch.
Well, all right. Thank you, son.
No, well, congratulations. I'm very excited for it. And
Thank you,
it's a
buddy.
big achievement. And, a 5th hour. Not many comics don't even get one.
Well, it's funny because now is the classic conundrum, right? Is, okay, you put it out there in the world, and it's like, okay, they're going to start coming to see you. So now what? And so that's the thing that's so frustrating is like, I want to start writing again, but then you're sitting there looking at a blank notebook going, okay, well, if I'm going to write, at least for me, I need to know what I'm writing about. Like, what is the backbone? What am I driving towards? What is the structure of this next one, you know?
Everybody has their own process, though. You'll get there. You did it 5 times already.
I know, but it's still it's
Right.
still like every time it's funny because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. You know, when you're starting over again,
100%.
it's like, what do I do? And then I was flying here today, and I was thinking about it. I was like, what if I just did another episode of the talk show? Just I mean, it's such a fun format.
Yeah.
I was thinking, wow, I could do another round of it, you know, because I have all these stories that have actually really happened.
I mean, so much stuff
that-
you've said here, too, is so entertaining.
Yeah, we'll
You know
see.
what
I
I
don't
mean?
know. So I don't know. We'll think about that. But yeah, I can't wait to see yours. I think it'd be
Great.
whatever you're going to do. It's going to be really, really well done.
You're just trying to direct it.
No, I'm not. No, I honestly think you could self-direct your own.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. We'll see what it is.
I think day of once you're going. I mean, your cameras are going.
Cameras are going.
Yeah, not like you need a whatever.
I'm excited for Jiggy's.
Yeah,
I'm gonna direct Jiggy's. He doesn't know it yet.
He doesn't. Yeah.
He didn't ask me. Doesn't know it, but I'm gonna direct Jiggy's.
Well, now he's sitting there going, "Fuck! I got to come up with another 30 minutes."
Oh no, he's like 1 hour.
Yeah.
In what time zone?
What would Jiggy's backdrop be? Let me ask you.
Okay.
Then I'll have an idea, and then let's ask Jiggy what is.
I think he'd be most comfortable if it was a baseball field.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Called First Pitch with Jiggy.
First pitch.
Yeah, because it's his first special, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
If we do it in a dugout, I only need 9 people to sit there.
I'm just thinking about capacities.
I was thinking, you know, he's done so much online in the food space.
Yeah, of course, kitchen.
Yeah. I was thinking he could film it in the food truck with 4 other people.
Yeah, there you go.
Just put 2.
I love how you cut already the capacity in half.
He goes from 9 to 4. We have such faith in you, Jiggy.
Mine
No.
is just in front of my roommate.
It's like you're talking to Rhea.
Yeah, just me and Rhea. That's
Jiggy's special will be called "Look, I actually smile."
Yeah.
Because you know, when I first came out, I brought my camera and I was taking pictures, and I was like, "When is this dude gonna smile?"
Yeah.
It was crazy, and then every now and then he does, and
He gets it. He gets a little
but he's
more
always
friendly.
smiling off stage.
He's one of the friendliest guys I know.
Yeah, and then on stage he looks like a Dahmer victim. Just like,
Or Dahmer. All right, should we get into it? Let's get into some. Let's get into helping some people.
all right. So just for the record, last late night airing now, Amazon Prime, free for Prime members. Thank you, Joe. Okay, here we go.
Thank you,
Here's
Steve, for
the-
giving the people 1 hour to laugh.
Yeah,
We're making the world laugh 1 hour at a time, or 45 minutes at a time if you're watching this Two Cool Moms podcast.
Okay, here we go. You ready? This is coming to us from Celeste. Very excited about this one. Okay, there's 3, so we could hit each one of these.
Okay, great.
They're quick hits. Ready?
Go.
Weirdest pet peeve.
Where does pet peeve?
Your weirdest pet
Oh, I thought
peeve.
you said where does. Weirdest pet peeve.
Weirdest pet peeve.
I don't know where pet
Apparently-
peeves. Where do my pet peeves?
Where does pet peeve? It's buried in Staten Island.
Oh, peeve. Rest in peace. Rest in peeve. My biggest pet peeve. Okay, I'm gonna say is when people eat loudly
Yeah.
in a
I can
closed
understand that.
space.
Yeah.
If people like are
Smacking.
yeah, like or yeah, there's a lot of that in my
Yeah.
life.
But you're from Sundays, big Italian family. You think you might be used to that?
But
or?
it's never quiet at the table.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody just is all if they're not talking.
You're
you know
never
what you do.
quiet at the table, Joe. What
I
are
know.
you talking about?
I know, but I know.
But you want it quiet?
No, I don't want it quiet at the table. I mean, if you're quietly eating at the table with somebody and you're just hearing, and the way they eat and they pull the fork up to their face,
Yeah.
and the way they eat a chip out of a bag and they look at it and eat one at a time. I'm not looking at anybody in particular, but I can't stand the way fucking Jiggy eats, and it drives me crazy. It drives me insane.
I've never known Jiggy to be a loud eater.
No, just a slow, weird eater. Like, watch him. I
Slow
swear to
and
God.
weird?
He eats like a bag of chips. Like,
Yeah.
I yell at him a lot because he first of all, here's my biggest pet peeve, and it's Jiggy. And he knows it. He
Just
knows
point
what he
at him
does.
then,
No,
yeah.
because I just yelled at him about it.
Yeah.
It's when you don't do a pour out of a bag, you do a whole contamination with your hand. Like if you're sharing a bag of chips or a bag of
the
cookies
chips.
or whatever, or a bag of M&Ms, when you just send it in like you're playing the fucking claw game at the boardwalk, trying to get yourself some fucking.
Get your
That's
steamy
what he's
mitts
doing.
all over it.
That's
yeah.
what he's doing. He drops his claw in like he's
So
Sid
pull
from
the
Toy
chips out
Story.
and then put it on a plate.
Yeah, and then he just and right into the mouth hole and then right back in. No beat, but still dribble.
But there is chips.
Our chips. If we're in the car or we share, who doesn't share chips? First of all, they're his chips. If you have a bag of chips, I'm eating them. If you open up a bag of M&Ms, I'm fucking in there. I'm the third M. It's M&Ms and me. M&M and M.
Okay, you're right. Because when you do go eat with
Biggest
Joe,
pet peeve.
that's okay.
But what are you doing when you're in the car? What are you supposed to pour into a bowl?
No, you're supposed to pour it in the hand. You know what
no
you
one
do.
does that.
You
No
know
one
what you
does
do.
No
that.
one does that. Yeah.
In a car, you pour into your hand?
You're not driving.
There'd be so much debris.
Yeah. Who would do that?
If you, any human that
No,
has
no. Like even like a British aristocrat wouldn't let me pour my chips into my hand, please.
Especially in a car.
British people, and why do they eat it with the pinky out? What are you doing? British people, first of all, don't share food, and it's known. They're not a sharing type of people.
Okay.
That's why we had to fight for independence. I do the out of the bag. If you're taking,
Yeah.
hey, can I get some of them? This is, hey, can I get some of them? That's
Right.
the difference. You out of the bag. You pour into the hand and you pop an M&M. If you're eating M&Ms out of the bag, what do? You do a dig or you do a dump?
I do a dig.
You're a
They're
dumb-
my M&Ms.
No,
they're mine. I bought them. It's
Okay.
for me.
Are you
I
gonna-
don't buy M&Ms expecting, you to be around the corner going,
You have never offered me an M&M when you're eating them. You always have. You're a
sure I have,
sharer,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
So now you're inviting me also to your Jeremy Fingers.
here's where, with gum,
Got
if
it.
I have gum, yes, get your own.
Comes wrapped. Who's rolling around with a thing of balls?
You don't want hot gum? You don't want hot gum?
I don't want hot gum. Oh,
No,
seated
but
on gum, another pet peeve.
A what?
Gum in the back pocket.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
A hot gum is the worst thing to put in your mouth. A hot gum? A hot,
That's what
a
I'm talking, it's
bubbly,
in the pocket,
oh,
yeah.
a bubba. Oh, a hot bubba? Forget it. Nobody wants a hot bubba in their mouth. Oh, God. Doublemint twin it. Oh.
Okay.
Juicy fruit, it's gonna move you right to the toilet. Oh, it's the worst. Hot red.
Big Red's
Red's
a good one.
Hate a big.
You don't like a Big
I don't
Red?
like a cinnamon. That's a cinnamon explosion in your
Big
mouth
Red.
hole.
I
Not for
like a
me.
Big Red.
Yeah, Big Red. Out of the juicy fruit, Wrigley, Spearmint, or Big Red, you go Big Red. The
Big
top
Red,
three,
yeah.
you go Big Red.
Yeah,
I go
juicy fruit. Juicy fruit's great for 3 seconds.
The best 3 seconds you'll ever have.
Hey, here
Oh wait,
you
you
go.
didn't give a pet peeve though.
My weirdest pet peeve, I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from. I've thought about it. If I get soap underneath my fingernails, it makes me
Oh well.
I
Like
don't
a
know
hand, like a bar soap. If you're
yeah.
using a
If
bar
I go
soap.
get the ivory or something,
Yep.
and I get a little, even if I'm picking it and it's wet or something, I get soap under my fingernails. I just get the heebie-jeebies. I
yeah.
don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So I have to pick it up the right way.
It's a weird feeling. Like let's go.
Yeah. I don't know.
that's
Something must
interesting.
have happened in a past life or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But, hot bubba.
All right. Hot bubba.
Okay, here's the next question. What's for dinner?
Tonight.
What's for dinner for you?
Tonight I'm getting taken out to dinner by my friend James Murray.
Ooh,
He's taking me to his Italian place
and
around the coast.
details.
And it's well, I'm hoping to get to second base.
Where are we?
We're going to a place right around the corner from here. Balapi. It's an Italian
Can't
place.
be the name.
Balapi's a great name for an Italian.
Blimpies is the worst name for any food product.
Yeah. Blimpie sandwich. Yeah.
Blimpie?
Blimpie. What IE they did it to be fun. You don't have the Blimpies? You don't have Blimpies? You had Blimpies?
Oh, it's after a. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense now.
No, Blimpie. Yeah, there's Subway put them under. Subway and Quiznos.
Massive food poisoning once for my last Blimpies.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah. Aren't they named
Awful
after
experience.
Popeye's friend, Blimpie? Isn't that his name? Popeye's friend who always ate. I'll gladly pay you. No, Bruto. He's the bad
Wimpy.
guy.
That's Wimpy. Wimpy always wanted
Wimpy. I'll gladly
hamburger.
pay you for a hamburger today
Yeah.
for a hamburger, right?
Yeah.
I think the Blimpies, because they look like a blimp. The sub
That's
subs
yeah.
look like a blimp.
I'm a dipshit.
Yep.
I didn't put that together.
You got it. Well, there you go. So, all right,
no
soap
more.
under the fingernails. Gross. Okay. What's your second?
Last question.
That's a good question, Celeste, for the first one.
What's for dinner? Okay, ready? Who was your childhood crush?
I had a couple.
Who was your first?
Sorry, I'm going.
The actual first
I go to celebrity.
crush.
You going to celebrity, or you're going to people? People in your life.
I would say. Well, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah,
okay.
'cause
Who's
everybody
your
goes-
childhood crush. Okay,
My
so
childhood
who would
crush.
be your
Danielle Kennedy for sure was my childhood crush in school.
in school?
In school,
And
Danielle.
what was it about
Kennedy.
Danielle Kennedy?
She was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
She just hit me right. She had beautiful brunette hair. She was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice tan skin. Beautiful.
And who did Danielle Kennedy become?
She
even
was the
in
one
high
I got the
school?
bloody nose on. I bloody sneezed on at our date. Remember I told you that story? Yeah. I wasn't
That's
even a
the
date. I
one?
don't think. Yeah, we went to the movies as a group.
Oh man,
that's
have you
my
seen
one.
her on Facebook or anything?
Yeah,
Or has she,
yeah. I think they. That's who came up when you put Danielle Kennedy. That's her now. That's her now. That's hysterical.
That's a face you see when the lightning bolt strikes and they're standing in front of your bed like that at 3 a.m.
That's a scary Danielle Kennedy. That was my childhood. Actually, you know what? That's actually kind of a lie. It was probably Christine Cordani.
Christine Cordani.
Christine Cordani.
And what was it about Christine Cordani?
Christine Cordani was just she was a basketball player. She played basketball.
Athletic. Like it.
Super sweet. Super sweet as well. There's just something about Christine Cordani. I gave her my tie when we graduated 8th grade. So we all had to wear 8th grade, our 8th grade, ties in St. Adalbert's. And then the boys, when they graduated, they gave their tie to who they liked.
See in the big leagues.
That's it. Yeah. And I never talked to her again.
Never talked to her? Have you heard through the grapevine what she's up to?
They all know of me and about me because
Yeah.
because it was a tight knit community in Staten Island. Yeah,
Sure.
I think I've bumped into people here and there. One of my good girlfriends in that group, her name was Tracy. She ended up living with her boyfriend on the same block as me and my mother.
Oh, really?
I was living in my mother's basement. She was renting somebody else's basement with her and her boyfriend at the time. And then, so I kept in touch a little bit with them. But through Facebook, people have seen where I'm at. I think they're all friends and follow me
Sure,
still on
yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
and whatnot. But I don't really talk to any of them. Yeah. So those would be probably, definitely Christine Cordani. Yeah. How about you?
Amy Runyon.
Oh.
Amy Runyon. I think I was like...
The Canyon?
What? Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was spelled like
You
that.
didn't put Runyon Canyon together? That threw
It
you
took
for
me
a
a
little
second.
bit?
It's been trust me, we're trying to block Los Angeles out of my mind.
Got it. So Amy Runyon.
Amy
okay.
Runyon.
What was it about Amy?
Just I don't know. It was like she had this great smile,
Yep.
and we were at church camp. This must
Hot.
be like 6th or 7th grade.
Nothing like a Runyon at a...
Church camp. And
What the hell is church camp?
You never went to church camp?
Never.
Everybody from your church goes to
Camp?
like a camp for
So you
like
went
a
to
weekend
camp?
or whatever. Yeah, I went to camp.
They call church camp.
Yeah, but very little Jesus involved.
Really?
He never showed up.
No, never
Yeah, it was
did.
kind of a bummer.
He showed up on the third day.
But I remember we went into school, and I let her borrow my Def Leppard cassette tape,
Oh, that's amazing.
and we were in Spanish class, and she listened to like an earbud, and I listened.
You
to
did a
earbud.
share ski?
We did the share ski.
That's the modern Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah,
That's right.
modern lady, and that was it. That was it. That's as far as it went. We shared earbuds.
Yeah, I never took it further than giving a tie or giving a bloody nose sneeze onto a girl. Not of my two crushes. That was it.
Yeah. But that was her, and I think she got she got married, just like most girls
People-
do.
yeah.
At some point, yeah.
They met a boy,
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good boy. Had intercourse.
popped out one or two.
She probably never thought about me ever.
Well, I heard that she named her first kid Steve. No relation. Just
Look at you, son of a bitch. You're gutting me. This is coming to us from. Okay, this is interesting.
Celeste did great. Rounds for Celeste. That was great. 3 questions, Celeste.
Great. It is from Grace. Quick question for Joe and Steve. If you do this too, when at your shows, do you ever go up to the balcony just to see what everyone else sees
We just did it.
from below? Yeah.
We
that's-
just did it. Where
asking
was that?
because
Was
we
in
choose less expensive seats for the Palace Theater at Joe's show. So,
okay. Yeah, we just did it at in Elkhart, Indiana. Was that
yeah, gorgeous theater.
gorgeous?
That was
gorgeous. Yeah.
very surprising to me.
So cool. And we actually got to stand up and look at it from the top. And I always like the first thing I do is when I stand on stage, I look to see where the back, if I could see the back, so you know how far you have to project to connect and whatnot. And I talk to the balcony as much as I do the orchestra. A lot of people when they play kind of down here, but I love looking up.
Look at yeah,
I think I do that pretty often actually
yeah,
because we get there earlier. You know, we get there.
yeah. You always get there early. You like to walk it.
You don't.
If I'm on at 8:15, I like to show up at 8:14. I don't like to putz around. I like to just dip in, do it. I don't like waiting around.
Sometimes you don't even do it for as long as you're supposed to. That's my favorite story about you is when you opened for Colin Jost. I came to see you. Me and Jiggy came to see you open for Colin. And Colin, they had like 5 openers, and they were like, he's like, just do 10 minutes. You're like, fine. Or you do 15 minutes, right? Or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Do 15. Do 15. He said, fine, because he had a bunch of people opening for him. So you're like, fine, I'll do 15. And then the person who was running the whole night for him, his tour manager, was like, okay, Steve's up. And then she was saying who was next or whatever. And you were opening right before Colin. And right before somebody going before Colin. And I said, they said you asked for a light because you weren't sure about the time. You had just landed. You literally were getting in your suit as the person before you was closing
That's right.
up.
I rushed there. Yeah.
So you rushed there. You got in. You had hit traffic, and because it's New York, of course, it's New Jersey. And then you got on stage and you said, "All right, just give me a light because you're like, so I know I have to wrap up." A little frazzled. And the way that the theater was set up is in the top right corner, there was a sound technician who had a TV monitor, like a computer monitor that was looking at all of it, and the monitor was bright. And it was in the same direction where you would be getting the light.
Yeah.
And you're doing your thing, you're doing your crowd work, you're crushing, you're having a good time. You're up there for 3 minutes. And the guy like drops something and he bends down to get the whatever he had dropped, and it exposes the monitor,
light,
which is bright, and I see you look up and catch it out of the corner of your eye, and he stood back up, so you thought it was the light, and you went directly into your closer, which is a 2.5 minute joke. I know it because I've heard it often, and I was like, oh shit, he thinks he got the light, and I'm on stage with the tour manager, and I said, he's wrapping up, and she looks at her clock. She's like, he's been on 4.5 minutes. I said, he thinks he got the light, and she goes, no, that's impossible. I said, no, that's what's happening, and she was like, and she ran to go find the next person who I believe was in the bathroom to come to get because you're about,
Colin,
and then she was like coming to get him, and she comes back and she's like in full sweat. You're like, all right, guys, you ready to keep this show going? And she's like, and she's like on the walkie. It was so funny.
Well, that happened with us this past weekend where I got off, I think, a little earlier because I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'll end on this.
I'm
You go,
literally
okay.
ironing my shirt. It was only me and you. It was a 2-man show.
Yeah.
I'm literally ironing my shirt in the green room. And I hear you say, you guys ready to keep the show going? And I was like, this mother. You told me you were doing. I watched you do your joke.
But I was at I think I was at 20 or whatever it is. Like if I'm doing 20, I'm at the 20-minute mark. I'm like, I got to get off stage because I don't want to go over because some people are just particular. Like I'd be particular, if somebody's going over, like if you say you're doing 20 and then you do 24, 25, I'd be like, okay. But if I say I'm doing, you say, hey, do 20, I'm doing 20.
Yeah.
And so I want to be respectful to that dismount. And And even though I was like, man, but the crowd was great.
They were
The
great.
crowd
You were
was so good.
crushing. Like, I don't mind you if you go an extra 3 minutes if they're doing well.
Yeah.
Don't stand there if you're sucking. Get out off the
I know,
stage.
but you know what I mean, though, right?
For
So
sure.
I didn't want to.
But if we didn't have the conversation when you told me, because I watched you were doing a new bit that I wanted to see before that, so I watched that bit. I was like, okay, that did great, and then I left to go iron my shirt because I figured I was okay. I have time now. I was in my undershirt.
Sure.
I was sitting there ironing, and you were supposed to do that last bit, and you were introducing me, and all I hear is Zach, one of our the guy who works for us. He's like, Joe. He's running, Joe running, looking.
The
for
minute
me.
you hear "Hello, beautiful," you're like, "Oh, motherfucker, I gotta put it again."
Let's go.
Yeah. That was funny with Colin. Even Colin, he was like, "Whoa, okay." I was like,
Thanks for coming.
Oops. I'll give you the friend discount. Don't worry about
there
it.
you go.
Okay, this is coming to us from Rachel. Hi, Steve. I met Joe at a show in Greensboro, the one where he brought a baby up on stage. And he told me to send you this photo to remind you all to answer my awesome question. So do you remember this young lady?
I remember the lady.
Okay.
Yes.
That's her picture. There we go.
Yes, I met her at the meet and greet.
Okay, this is the
Yes,
reminder.
Yes.
Question is, how do you face your greatest fear? Love you, mommies, and thanks again to Joe for all the laughs.
That wasn't the question she asked me.
How do you face your greatest fear?
Scroll up. What was the question she asked before that? That's what she asked?
That's it.
Because she told me a different question. And I said, oh, that question's awesome. That wasn't the question.
That was the you think I'm making it up?
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. How do you...
Are you serious? Fucking asshole. I gotta go to the 7th floor.
How do you face your greatest fear? I thought was very good because I like sometimes when we could give advice.
Sure.
And I feel like fear freezes a lot of people. I've seen it. I've lived it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it more than I've lived it. I try to fight through the fear, but I've also seen it as a parent with my daughter and my son.
Mm-hmm.
But I think fear is an immobilizer.
Sure.
And it doesn't only stop you from growing or doing things, but it also could affect a full life path.
Mm-hmm.
I think fear is the single most, probably besides regret.
Right.
I think fear is the biggest immobilizer to personal growth.
I don't disagree with you. When you put it in the context like that, it's such a smart way to break it down. Yeah. When I hear fear, I just start thinking of horror films. Because you had a great, but I agree. I think, it's fearful to, being in the industry we're in, there's so much to fear.
Yeah.
There truly is. If you wrote down all the speed bumps, the road bumps, the doors that are the constant rejection,
100%.
It's
The
just
landmines that are just all over, yeah. Nobody would take a step.
Everybody's greatest fear, it's ranked higher than death.
Yeah, it's public speaking, right? And that's what we do.
It's what we do for a living. And via public speaking, we make a living doing this, Some
And
better
then
than
also,
others.
Then also fear to fail, which you
Sure.
fail to make somebody laugh, right? So that's right. You're publicly speaking with a fear to fail from making people laugh, and everyone is looking at you.
Well,
right? So it's everything wrapped together, right?
I don't think people realize the most common attribute to being a comedian is failure.
Yeah.
You're taking things on a daily or nightly basis, right? Things you scribbled on a notepad or on a napkin, or you just remembered it on your phone. You bring it to the stage at
Or
night.
you're also trying it in the moment.
Trying it in the moment. 9 times out of 10, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
The 1 time out of 10, that's what keeps you going, right? Yeah. So I think stand-up comedy is the ultimate lesson in failure. I mean, it could be attributed to so many professions, but just because of what we do,
right?
I just think it's more. This job is more about failure than anything. I mean, when you watch an hour special, you're seeing the one thing that worked. You're not seeing the 9 things that didn't work.
Right.
And so that's why it takes
You're
a
watching
long
the
time
60 minutes that worked, not the 180 minutes that didn't.
Yeah. I mean, that's the right way to put it. So I think it's I think if anybody understands or appreciates or doesn't mind giving a warm embrace to failure, it's anybody that does this for a living, for sure.
But I think what about you think about fear? When you think about fear, just in general, right, and in your life. Now, take it away from comedy, but just think about how you've conquered things. Fear of commitment, right? To get married, fear of fatherhood, fear of any of that stuff, fear of not knowing what you're doing. I remember that being a big thing for me about when you're when you became a parent, right? Because on paper it's like, oh, and then you realize nobody knows what they're doing, and then it's like, oh, but now you have to do it. Like you're responsible for these humans, not only in a monetary thing, which was a sidetrack for me where I thought, oh, as long as I provide monetarily, I'm doing all right, which is wrong.
Right.
Wrong way to think about it. Then it's like, oh, now you have to help mold these children, and then you have a fear of like, oh, I don't want to fail them. Like even this morning with Remo, like I got upset about something with him, and he got really upset, and I was like, I shouldn't have got that upset. And I know I'm not going to see him for like 5 days, and I'm like, oh, why did it? Like that was like the last thing I was doing.
But you had to have that failure.
Yes.
It's almost like success is like a graduation of failures, right? So you've got to get your teeth kicked in. You got to trip. You got to fall.
100%.
You got to get hammered, and all these things. And the key is, if you don't learn from those failures, then you'll never get to those successes. Then you're just caught up in the definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So I think it's important, to your point at the beginning, to go back full circle. I think sometimes people just think too much. Yeah, and you're almost creating like a checklist of reasons to not do it. But it's like, so many times you hear people, well, I'm going to have kids at the right time, or, I'm going to move to New York at the right time. It's just like, there is no right time. Just figure it the fuck out. Just get on with it. Yeah. And the sooner you put yourself in the lion's den, the quicker you'll make those failures, and the quicker you can get past those to get on the way to the path to success, right. I think. So
I think my advice would be similar to yours. If you can't fight through the fear, to do it. Like if you have to, like whatever it is, it's just your fear of something. You're facing your fear and you want to get through it. And like I'm not like talking about like heights or any of that stuff, like arachnophobia, those things. I'm talking about like fear of like making a decision in your life or taking a risk. If that's the fear, because that's what I imagine she's speaking of. I don't think she's like, how to get over my fear of spiders. If you can't get through it, the most important thing to do is like first identify and try to dismantle it. What are you afraid of? Why? Like what's the outcome? Break it down as best you can. Talk to people that you trust. Get their insight. Talk about it. Yeah. Talk about it. Don't try to just think, the more you talk about something, the more you can work it out. That's always a big thing for me. If you can't ultimately do it, you have to be okay with that. Right. Because then you'll get regret. And if you get regret on top of the fear, like you completely dismantle yourself you're giving yourself a mental state that's just, it's craziness. Like you couldn't get through it. Now you regret that you couldn't get through it. Be okay with it. You can't get through it if you can't get through it. Right. If you can't face the fear and you can't fight through it, and you have to be okay with it and be like, okay, at least I tried and did everything I could to try to get through this fear. I just can't do it. Then be okay with it. Right. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think to have regret is almost more painful than the fear itself. Right. 100%. So, and also just fuck it. Just do it. 100%. Just do it. Just get out and do it. Yeah. Like you got to give it a shot, because you know what? You're going to be dead. You're going to be dead. Die. We're all going to die. You're going to be dead. So, and ultimately, like people are like, oh, life doesn't matter. It doesn't. Like that's also a good thing, right? People are like, it doesn't matter. It's all futile. We're going to die anyway. You are going to die anyway. So might as well give it a fucking go. I agree. Right? I think, I don't know. You hear that so often, right? Yep. It's like, well, we're all going to die. It doesn't matter. We're all just, I remember watching this thing, Jim Carrey, we're just a speck in the universe. None of this fucking matters. It's easy to say that when you have $100 million in the bank, Jim. Yeah, of course, none of this shit. Yeah. But I do think that while you're here, why not push things to the max and put your best foot forward and do the best of your abilities in everything you do, so that you don't have, again, that regret. I think that sentence, right, with perspective is completely different. We're all going to die. It doesn't matter. Or we're all going to die. It don't matter. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like if you're coming at it from the angle of, oh, we're all going to die. It doesn't matter. Oh, I might as well be defeated in life. Yeah. Or, hey, I might as well try to give this the best shot that I can, because we're all going to die. It doesn't matter anyway. Yeah. Like it's just all about perspective, right? So just try to figure out that fear and get through it. It's so funny because there were times like when I was younger, I was like, if I sat here and thought of all the reasons why I shouldn't go up tonight, I'd make a very valid case. It's like, you can talk yourself out of anything. You can absolutely talk yourself out of it. But every time, when I was younger and I was going around the city and making the rounds and stuff, there wasn't a night that went by that I didn't think, well, okay, I fucking pancaked on that stage tonight. That was a horrible set. But I still garnered experience from it, and I learned from it. And so I was always glad to have had, I think, like, I don't know. I think you're just a better person from
from disseminating your failures
Yep.
than you are from the successes. I think
100%.
more about my failures ever than I ever do about that was great. I did. It was just like, okay, it was great. It was a great excuse to go out that night. That's it. But
I will 100% be on the page of it's better to pancake in a failure than to waffle in indecision.
oh yeah.
And that is a breakfast pun that works as also advice. And that's what you get here on Two Cool Moms. Because it's great. It's a great quote that I thought of, and I think it's very good. And I want to make a T-shirt and wear it.
I was just going to say, we now have merch.
Merch is available.
And you got to put the one line on the front and the other on the back.
Yeah.
And then under the second line, it goes, now I'm hungry.
There you go.
I'm hungry
or
for
just
life.
says sausage. Yeah. So get some bacon. Yeah. No, I think that's valid advice. I think you really just got to fight through it, and I just go, man, just go.
Yeah. It's so funny. Not to get too personal, and I mean this is so far removed, but I have a friend that's in a horrible relationship. Okay, he doesn't listen to this, so I'm fine.
Okay.
A bad relationship. And every time I talk to him, just, it's this, it's this, it's this. There's elements tying him to the relationship, right? But I'm just sitting there going, you're just fucking scared. You're just scared. Get the hell out of the relationship. Because you're not happy, she's not happy. And ultimately, no matter who you're with, whether it's great, whether it's bad, I think anybody that truly cares and loves you will want you to be happy. And I think ultimately that's what anybody should want for themselves too. If you're happy, then I think whoever you're with will see that and want to support that and give you tailwinds to that happiness. But I'm talking to this friend and this question comes up just about fear. It's like, get on with it. God damn it. Like, be happy within yourself. And I guarantee you, if you're not happy, that person can't be happy. Right. So why are you guys doing this? It's crazy.
You guys could be a short stack together. Pancake of failures, or you could be
waffle
and decisions.
Yeah.
What do you want for breakfast?
Well, I think we really did it today.
There we go, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening to Two Cool Moms. We appreciate you. Watch Steve Byrne's special on Amazon Prime. It's called The Last Late Night with Steve Byrne.
Yes.
It's phenomenal. I'm very proud of you, and I love you.
Proud of you. I love you, and thank you for directing it. And I'll be at the Brea Improv, Houston Improv, and New Year's Eve weekend at the Milwaukee Improv ringing in the new year. And then I haven't really announced it yet, but I'll be doing my residency in Las Vegas at the Jimmy Kimmel Club, January through July. And I know we'll have some things going on.
For sure. I'll pop by.
On that. Yeah, and we'll get
You pointed
get him to eat some chips on stage.
Get eat some chips on stage, as I can watch him and just
a microphone.
seethe.
Yeah,
I could just seethe. I don't want to listen to him eat waffles.
All right. Thank you.
There you go.
These two cool mommies love you, so show us some love.
Please rate us, review us, follow us on all social media, and subscribe to our YouTube.